If you have been forgetting words mid-sentence, walking into a room and not knowing why, or reading the same paragraph 3 times without it landing, stop. Before you go any further down that fear, I need to tell you something important. Most brain fog in women over 60 is not dementia. It is reversible. And today, I am going to show you the 3 most common reasons it happens and how to clear it in 2 weeks. 3 causes. Most women have at least 1. Many have 2. And almost nobody tests for the right thing first. Today, I am giving you a clear, specific protocol for each one. Not general wellness advice. The exact thing to check, the exact thing to do, and the exact timeline. Stay with me for cause number 3. It is the one that most women have never heard connected to brain fog, and it may be the most important one of all. I want to tell you about a woman I'll call Christine. She's not one real person. She's built for many conversations because this fear comes up constantly. Christine is 64. For the past 18 months, she has been quietly terrified. Not of pain or illness, of her own mind. She loses words in the middle of a sentence and has to pause, watching the person she is talking to wait patiently, while she reaches for something that should be right there. She walks into her kitchen with a clear intention and arrives with no memory of what it was. She reads emails and realizes 10 minutes later she has no idea what they said. She started keeping a notepad beside the bed because she was afraid of forgetting things overnight. She has Googled her symptoms at 2 a.m. more times than she can count. Every time she lands on the same word. And every time she closes the laptop and tries very hard not to think about what it might mean. She told me, "I'm so afraid of what this is. My mother had dementia. I watch myself doing these things and I think, is this how it starts? I'm scared to say it out loud because saying it might make it more real." Christine had not had her B12 tested in 4 years. She had never had a full thyroid panel. Her sleep had been fragmented for 2 years due to hot flashes she was managing mostly by hoping they would improve on their own. 3 completely addressable causes, sitting quietly in the background, producing symptoms that looked and felt exactly like what she feared most. And none of them had been looked for. If this resonates, hit subscribe right now. Because this conversation changes how you understand what is happening in your brain, and it may change what you do about it this week. Here is what brain fog actually is, in simple terms. Brain fog is not a medical diagnosis. It is a description of how it feels when your brain's processing speed, retrieval speed, and working memory are running below their normal capacity. It feels like thinking through mud, like your mental reflexes have slowed, like words and thoughts are just slightly out of reach when you need them. Dementia is a progressive neurological disease caused by structural damage to brain tissue. Brain fog is a functional state. No structural damage. Just a brain that is temporarily under-resourced, under-supported, or working against a specific deficiency. The distinction matters enormously, because a brain running on insufficient B12 or a struggling thyroid gland is not a brain that is breaking down. It is a brain that is missing something it needs, and when you give it what it needs, it clears. Most brain fog in women over 60 has one of 3 causes. Here they are. Cause 1. B12 deficiency. Vitamin B12 is essential for the health and function of every neuron in your brain and nervous system. It maintains the myelin sheath, the protective coating around nerve fibers that allows electrical signals to travel quickly and precisely. Without adequate B12, this sheath thins. Nerve signals slow. Processing speed drops. Word retrieval becomes sluggish. The experience is indistinguishable from early cognitive decline. B12 deficiency is extremely common in women over 60 for 2 specific reasons. First, as you age, your stomach produces less intrinsic factor, a protein essential for absorbing B12 from food. You can eat plenty of B12-rich foods and still absorb almost none of it. Second, several medications widely taken by women over 60, particularly proton pump inhibitors for acid reflux and metformin for blood sugar, further reduce B12 absorption. Studies estimate that between 10 and 30% of adults over 60 have clinically suboptimal B12 levels. Many have never been tested. What to do? Ask your doctor for a serum B12 test at your next appointment. The standard reference range for normal B12 is wide, and neurological symptoms can appear at levels that technically fall within the normal range, but are functionally low for brain performance. If your level is below 400 picograms per milliliter, discuss supplementation with your doctor, even if the lab does not flag it as deficient. Sublingual B12, meaning a tablet that dissolves under your tongue, bypasses the absorption problem in the gut and delivers B12 directly into the bloodstream. This is the most important delivery distinction for women over 60. Standard oral B12 tablets require intrinsic factor for absorption. If you are producing less intrinsic factor, those tablets may be doing very little regardless of the dose on the label. Sublingual or injectable B12 bypasses this entirely. Many women notice meaningful improvement in mental clarity within 2 to 3 weeks of correcting a deficiency with an effective delivery method. Cause 2. Thyroid dysfunction. Your thyroid gland controls the metabolic rate of every cell in your body, including every brain cell. When your thyroid is underactive, a condition called hypothyroidism, your brain runs slower. Every process slows. Thought formation, word retrieval, focus, processing. The brain fog of hypothyroidism feels heavy, foggy, and persistent. It does not come and go the way caffeine-related or sleep-related fog does. It is consistently there, like a dimmer switch that has been turned down and left there. Hypothyroidism is one of the most common undiagnosed conditions in women over 60. The thyroid naturally becomes less efficient with age. Autoimmune thyroid conditions, which are significantly more common in women than in men, often develop in the perimenopause and postmenopause years. And here is the critical point that many women never hear. The standard thyroid test ordered in most routine checkups measures only TSH. TSH is a pituitary signal, not a direct measure of how much thyroid hormone your cells are actually receiving. Some women with normal TSH levels have suboptimal levels of the active thyroid hormone called T3, and their cells are functionally hypothyroid even though their standard test reads normal. What to do? Ask your doctor specifically for a full thyroid panel including TSH, free T4, and free T3. If you have been told your thyroid is fine based on TSH alone and your brain fog persists, the free T3 is the missing piece. Also, ask about thyroid antibodies, specifically TPO antibodies, which indicate autoimmune thyroid activity that can precede overt hypothyroidism by years. Cause 3. Sleep-disrupted glymphatic clearance. This is the one almost nobody has heard about. And it is the most biologically specific explanation for why brain fog is so prevalent in women over 60. During deep sleep, your brain activates a system called the glymphatic system. Think of it as your brain's overnight cleaning crew. While you sleep deeply, cerebrospinal fluid pumps through channels alongside your brain's blood vessels and physically washes through the brain tissue, carrying away metabolic waste products that accumulated during the day. This cleaning happens almost exclusively during deep sleep. It cannot happen effectively when you are awake, and it cannot happen when sleep is fragmented. One of the waste products cleared by this system every night is a protein called beta amyloid. Beta amyloid is the same protein that accumulates abnormally in the brains of people with Alzheimer's disease. In a brain with healthy sleep, it is flushed out reliably every night. In a brain whose deep sleep is disrupted, it accumulates, not in the quantities seen in Alzheimer's, but enough to create the dense, foggy, slow processing feeling that women describe as brain fog. After menopause, deep sleep architecture changes significantly. Hot flashes cause micro-arousals that interrupt the deepest sleep stages even when women are not fully aware of waking. The loss of estrogen reduces the time spent in slow-wave deep sleep. The result is that the glymphatic system runs incompletely on many nights. The brain wakes the next morning in its own partially uncleaned environment. That is brain fog at its most direct and biological level. A study published in Science showed that sleep deprivation significantly increased beta amyloid accumulation in human brain tissue, specifically during disrupted deep sleep. This is not a soft lifestyle correlation. This is a measurable biochemical mechanism connecting disrupted sleep to the exact protein associated with cognitive decline. What to do? Treating the cause of sleep disruption, specifically managing hot flashes and overnight waking, is not just a comfort issue. It is a brain health intervention. Consistent wake time, a cool bedroom, no screens before bed, and a direct conversation with your doctor about hot flash management are not optional extras. They are specific interventions for brain function. Here are the practical steps for each cause in a clear weekly plan. This week, get a blood test. Ask specifically for serum B12, full thyroid panel including TSH, free T4, free T3, and TPO antibodies and vitamin D. These 4 tests together give you a complete picture of the most common correctable causes of brain fog after 60. You do not need to wait for symptoms to worsen to justify this request. You need to know your numbers now, before assumptions take hold, starting this week alongside the blood test. If you have not been tested recently, and especially if you take PPIs or metformin, ask your doctor about starting sublingual B12. This form dissolves under your tongue and bypasses the absorption problem that makes standard tablets ineffective for many women over 60. Most physicians are comfortable recommending this while waiting for test results given its safety profile. Magnesium glycinate before bed, specifically this form as it crosses the blood-brain barrier more readily than other forms of magnesium and has been shown to support deep sleep stages directly. And the 3 sleep habits every single night without exception. Consistent wake time. Cool bedroom. No screens for 30 minutes before bed. Timeline to expect. B12 deficiency fog. Most women notice meaningful improvement in mental clarity within 10 to 14 days of effective sublingual supplementation. Thyroid-related fog takes longer because thyroid hormone levels shift slowly, but partial improvement is typically felt within 3 to 4 weeks of starting treatment. Sleep-related fog often improves faster than expected, sometimes within the first week of consistently better sleep, because the glymphatic system resumes its clearance work almost immediately once the deep sleep stages are protected. Let's go back to Christine. Once she had her numbers, the picture was clear. Her B12 was 286, technically within the lab's normal range, but well below the functional threshold associated with optimal neurological performance. Her TSH was normal, but her free T3 was at the low end of the reference range, and her TPO antibodies were elevated, indicating early autoimmune thyroid activity. And her sleep, she admitted when asked directly, was being interrupted 2 to 3 times a night by hot flashes she had been managing with a fan and hoping for the best. Her doctor started her on sublingual B12, addressed the thyroid finding with monitoring and a dietary protocol for now, and worked with her on a more active approach to managing the hot flashes overnight. 6 weeks later, Christine told me something that made me think of every woman still quietly closing that laptop at 2 a.m. She said, "I found the word I was looking for today, in the middle of the sentence, right where it was supposed to be. I had forgotten that was possible. That word was always there. Her brain just needed what it was missing. So here's what I want you to do this week. Call your doctor's office and request a blood test that includes B12, full thyroid panel, and vitamin D. That is the whole ask. 4 numbers, one appointment, and if your doctor asks why, you can say what Christine said. I have been experiencing brain fog, and I want to rule out the most common reversible causes before I assume anything worse. Leave a comment telling me whether brain fog has been part of your experience and whether you had ever connected it to B12 or thyroid. The responses in the comment section to this kind of video often do more to reduce fear than the video itself. And please share this with every woman you know who is quietly carrying the fear that Christine was carrying. Because most of the time, this is not what they think it is, and that matters enormously. Subscribe for more honest, practical conversations like this one. I'll see you in the next video.